Michigan, and the Great Depression.
Imagine the stock market crash of 1929 as a vast circus tent collapsing during its big opening show, with acrobats falling and clowns flailing everywhere. Now, picture Michigan as the center of this chaotic scene. What seemed like a thrilling spectacle quickly turned into a disaster, showing the state's drastic fall from automotive greatness to a place with help-wanted signs and widespread despair. Once riding high on the auto industry's success, Michigan suddenly faced a major crisis. The stock market crash hit hard and shook the very foundation of Detroit. By 1933, Michigan's unemployment rate soared to 34%, surpassing the national average of 26%. Even General Motors, once a symbol of Michigan's industrial strength, had to cut jobs rapidly as the economy tanked. To add to the drama, local governments and charities struggled to keep up with the overwhelming need for help. By January 1933, the Michigan Welfare News sadly reported that these groups could only meet 15% of the demand for aid. It was like trying to stop a flood with a leaky bucket. During this chaos, there was a fierce debate over who should handle the relief efforts. In 1937, Michigan's legislature created a state-level system with local programs. But in 1938, a referendum quickly overturned it. The 1939 Welfare Reorganization Act, based on the 1935 Federal Social Security Act, introduced a mixed system with local and state control. This led to complaints from both sides, each unhappy but stuck with the compromise. The Michigan Conference of Social Work stepped up as a somewhat unlikely hero in the middle of this mess. Operating on volunteers and membership dues since 1912, it suddenly found itself in the spotlight of crisis management. It hired its first full-time executive and started the Michigan Welfare News as a lifeline. Despite disagreements within the conference, it worked hard to fix the state and engage in public policy debates. The 1930s in Michigan weren't just about economic depression, they were a time of significant change and struggle. This era was a mix of financial disaster and desperate attempts at reform, where each solution seemed to create new problems. Looking back, Michigan's experience during the Great Depression wasn't just a local issue, it reflected the larger national struggle. This era teaches us about resilience, adaptability, and the need for effective welfare policies. It reminds us of the risks of unchecked economic excess and highlights the ongoing importance of strong social safety nets. So, the next time someone says history is a dull or straightforward story, remember Michigan in the 1930s, a wild and turbulent ride through economic and social upheaval. This period shows that even in the face of collapse, the human spirit and determination can find a way through the chaos of history.
So, you've managed to endure a slice of the RPTM podcast. We pat ourselves on the back for possibly coaxing a chuckle out of you, but let's be real, we're aiming for the tears here. If, by some twist of fate, you actually found this clip halfway interesting, do us a favor, bestow upon us the mighty power of the thumbs up and grace that subscribe button with your presence.